I never imagined silence could feel so absolute. That night, when the front door shut behind him, it was as if the very air in the room folded in on itself and vanished. Ryan didn't shout. He didn't curse. He didn't even glance back. He simply walked away. It all started with one careless line I hadn't intended to speak aloud. I didn't mean to hurt him. I didn't anticipate it ending anything. We were at the dining table, wine glasses half empty, the refrigerator humming through the pauses. He had come home late again, tired, tie loosened, shoulders slumped. I wanted conversation. He wanted quiet. That had always been our rhythm. I said, "You're exhausting to love sometimes." 7 words. Calm, almost casual, but loaded with the weight of unspoken years. Ryan froze, his hand still resting on the chair's back. That look in his eyes, the quiet flicker of something breaking, etched itself in me forever. He didn't demand an explanation, didn't argue or defend himself. He inhaled, deep and slow, like someone surrendering to a storm they can no longer fight, and said, "Then stop trying." Then he left. For a few moments, I sat in stunned silence, waiting for the echo of the door to fade. I assumed he'd return after cooling off. Maybe a night at his brother's, a drive to clear his mind. But as hours stretched into morning, reality set in. His toothbrush was gone, his laptop, his jacket from the hook, even his weekend watch. Every corner of the house felt charged with his absence. The place wasn't just empty, it was accusing. Each object remembered him. The coffee mug he always reached for, the dent in the couch where he sank, the lingering scent of his cologne, faint yet persistent, like it refused to leave my thoughts. I replayed the night over and over. My words, my tone, his expression. I hadn't meant cruelty. I had tried, or at least convinced myself, that I had tried honesty. But honesty without gentleness is nothing but sharp-edged truth. Ryan wasn't perfect. Quiet, reserved, sometimes distant, almost unreachable. I wanted more words, more attention, more signs that I still mattered, but he showed love in ways I never appreciated. Fixing the leaky faucet at midnight, bringing home my favorite tea unprompted, warming the car for me on cold mornings. He spoke in deeds, not words, and I lacked patience to see it. Most people imagine a relationship ending with explosions, betrayals, or arguments. But ours ended softly, tragically, through quiet exhaustion. 2 people who once fit together perfectly simply ran out of ways to connect. By the 3rd day, his absence had weight. Friends texted. My mother called, asking if everything was okay. I lied, saying he was away on a work trip, easier than admitting I had pushed him out with a single sentence. That night, I scrolled through old photos, vacations, anniversaries, casual moments where he made heart-shaped pancakes. He always looked at me like I was his home. When did I stop being that? I thought of calling him, apologizing, explaining, but pride, fear, guilt, some combination, kept me frozen. What if he didn't answer? What if he did? Days turned into weeks. The bed felt bigger, colder. Silence became normal. And for the first time, I began to understand his exhaustion. The effort of loving someone who constantly demanded proof, someone who couldn't see effort unless it arrived in the right words. I had been so focused on wanting more that I failed to notice he had already given everything. I replayed the night he left, slower this time. Every pause, every subtle sigh, the faint tremor of his hand as he reached for his keys, the expression on his face, neither anger nor disappointment, but something deeper, something final. I wondered endlessly what would have happened if I'd said anything else. The first time I saw Ryan again was 3 months later, by chance. I was leaving a small downtown cafe, paper cup in hand, when I saw him across the street. Same posture, hands in pockets, head tilted as though lost in thought. But he seemed lighter somehow, freed from an invisible weight I had been unknowingly placing on him. I froze. My heart jolted, as it always does when the body remembers before the mind catches up. For a moment, I almost called his name, but then I saw her, a woman beside him, laughing at something he said, hand resting lightly on his arm in the same way I had once touched him when things were new and easy. He didn't see me. I watched them walk away together. disappearing around the corner. My stomach twisted, not with jealousy, exactly, but with the realization that life had moved forward for him. While I was still caught in the moment, he walked out. That night, I sat on our empty bedroom floor, surrounded by boxes I had meant to sort months ago. Letters, receipts, trinkets, ordinary things now relics of a vanished life. I picked up one of his old notebooks. Written in his slanted handwriting was a single line: "You can't keep proving love to someone who refuses to believe it." It broke me. He had written that long before my careless words. He had been quietly hurting, thinking he was enough, while I focused on his shortcomings, blind to the ways he held everything together. I used to think love ended in grand moments, betrayal, lies, infidelity. But now I see it dies quietly, in the everyday neglect of understanding. In every "I'm fine" when you're not, every "I'm busy," when the truth is fear connection. After that night, I stopped trying to reach him. I didn't deserve a conversation. Not yet. I needed to sit with the same silence he had endured for years. Regret is loudest when no one is there to hear it. Sometimes, when the city grows too quiet, I replay our last true conversation. We sat on the couch, rain tapping the windows. I scrolled through my phone, distant. He asked, "Do you ever feel like you're just waiting for me to fail?" I laughed, brushing it off, but his jaw tightened. His eyes dropped. That was the beginning of the end, though neither of us realized it at the time. Weeks became months. The pain softened into understanding. Not forgiveness yet, but clarity. I began writing letters I never sent, not to win him back, but to tell him what I should have said. "You weren't exhausting to love, Ryan. I was exhausting to please. You didn't stop trying. I stopped noticing. You were the calm in my chaos, and I mistook it for indifference. Some nights, I imagine him happy. Maybe still with the woman from the cafe. Maybe alone but at peace. Either way, I hope he's found the quiet he always wanted. The quiet that isn't heavy like ours was. People say time heals, but it doesn't heal what you refuse to face. It simply gives space to see yourself without flinching. I finally saw how much he had tried to stay, how deeply he must have loved me to endure the slow erosion of affection. Love isn't measured in grand gestures or constant validation. It's in quiet loyalty. Small acts done without prompting. It's in staying, not because it's easy, but because it's worth it. The night he walked out, I thought he had broken us. But now I realized he was doing what I could not, letting go when love had become survival. Sometimes, I still hear the door close in my mind, the echo fading into stillness. And every time, I whisper the words I never spoke when it mattered most. I was wrong. You weren't exhausting to love. I was too blind to see how effortless you made it. He'll never hear it. But saying it aloud brings the closest thing to peace I've ever known.